Here.
Jake Gilbert,
Here.
Scott Willis.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. The first item up is the approval of minutes for the meeting on, June 8th of 2020. Are there any changes to the minutes as presented? If not, can we have a motion to affirm the minutes?
Scott Willis, so moved.
Troy Patton, second.
Motion properly made and seconded. Since we're doing virtual, Cindy, will you call the roll?
Scott Willis,
Yes.
Jake Gilbert,
Yes.
Scott Fry,
Yes.
Troy Patton,
Yes.
Joe Edwards,
Yes.
Mike Johns,
Yes.
Cindy Spalgeri.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
The next item of business is the claims docket for June the 22nd, 2020. Are there any questions about the claims? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve claims.
Scott Willis, second.
Okay, we've got a motion properly made and seconded. Again, Cindy, will you call the roll since we're doing this virtually?
Was that Jake that made the motion?
Yes, I'm sorry. Jake Gilbert, motion
Okay.
to approve claims.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Mike Johns,
Yes.
Cindy Spalgeri,
Yes.
Joe Edwards,
Yes.
Troy Patton,
Yes.
Scott Fry,
Yes.
Scott Willis,
Yes.
Jake Gilbert.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, there is no special presentation tonight. In old business, we have ordinance 20-21, and this is issuing economic development bonds for the Spring Mill Center. This project was introduced on June the 6th. Actually, I think it was, well, anyway, it was introduced on June the 6th according to the agenda. It is up for adoption tonight. This is a true renovation project. It's the old cement plant out at 31 and 32, or Spring Mill, 31 and Spring Mill, and it's being renovated, and there is $1.5 million, for approximately $1,500,000, I don't know, something like that, pretty close, in economic development bonds to be issued to renovate, and they're anxious to get started to do that and to do some demolition work and get going. Does anybody have any questions about this ordinance 20-21?
This is Mike Johns.
Mike?
Yeah, I understand the ordinance. The only question I had, and maybe someone is there from the developer that could address it, with respect to environmental considerations, the ordinance speaks to removal of underground storage tanks. Do we know what was in those storage tanks and how long they were there, and if there's any possibility that anything leached into the ground from them?
Mike,
Randy?
this is Randy Zentz. So we had phase 1 and phase 2 on that property, and it is noted that there were tanks. There was no occurrence of any leakage, and those environmental reports have been presented to your council, as well as we've indemnified the city in another document against any recourse in the event there were any other environmental found that are unknown at this time. But we have had asbestos, phase 1, phase 2, and everything is clean. Originally, what was in those tanks was I believe that it was hydraulic fluid for the purposes of hydraulic pumps that operated within there. And I believe some motor oil, but all of that was properly removed, and it's all going to be properly capped.
Okay.
And actually, the tanks will be physically removed from underneath where they're currently at.
Understand. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Any other questions about this ordinance 20-21? If not, I'd entertain a motion on this ordinance.
Yeah, this is Scott Willis. I make a motion to forward with a positive recommendation, or I'm sorry, approval of ordinance number 20-21.
Okay. Is there a
Cindy
second?
Spaljerek. Cindy, yes, second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion properly made and seconded. Cindy Gossard, our clerk, would you call the roll?
Joe Edwards,
Yes.
Troy Patton,
Yes.
Scott Fry,
Yes.
Mike Johns,
Yes.
Scott Willis,
Yes.
Jake Gilbert,
Yes.
Cindy Spaljerek.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, thank you. We have two items of new business. One of them, the first one, is a memorandum of understanding for SEP, and this is the project at 161st Street and 31. And basically, this is an affirmation of our desire to proceed with the project, and so that proper financing can be garnered. And we've had some sessions about this, about what applies to what, and I hope most of the questions have been answered on this. I know I had some questions, and I asked our attorney, and he helped me a good deal with this. So it's kind of unusual the way we do this with this memorandum of understanding, but I believe it's necessary to proceed on the project. Does anybody else have anything they'd want to say about this before we work on this? If not, this is just the start of the project, and it is our intention that this memorandum of understanding be developed, and this is kind of the framework that we're going to put to it. So if there are no further questions, I'd entertain a motion on this tonight.
So moved. This is Scott Fry.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second, Jake Gilbert.
Okay. We have a motion before us, properly made and seconded, on the framework, anyway, a draft memorandum of understanding for SEP, which would be I think a highly desired project. So Cindy Gossard, would you call the roll, our clerk?
Okay. Troy Patton,
Yes.
Scott Willis,
Yes.
Jake Gilbert,
Yes.
Joe Edwards,
Yes.
Mike Johns,
Yes.
Cindy Spaljerek,
Yes.
Scott Fry.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Thank you. Now we have one other item, and we have an ordinance about food trucks within the city of Westfield, and if people want them, they need to get a special permit. And so what is before us tonight is the approval for up to 3 food trucks for the St. Maria Goretti's Italian Fest on July 11. I would think we could act favorably upon this, but does anybody have any question about this? If not, Cindy, will you call the roll?
Okay. Who made the motion and who?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did he?
Scott Fry will make the motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Scott
I'll,
Willis will second it.
okay. I'm sorry. I got the cart before the horse there. But anyhow, that wouldn't be the first time that happened. Okay, we have a motion.
That's okay. So Scott Fry, and who seconded? I'm sorry, I did.
Give it to Troy. Give it to Troy.
Who made
Troy.
the second? I missed it. Troy? Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
now Cindy, call the roll.
Okay. Jake Gilbert,
Yes.
Scott Willis,
Yes.
Mike Johns,
Yes.
Cindy Spalgeric,
yes,
Joe Edwards,
Yes.
Troy Patton,
Yes.
Scott Fry.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Is there anything else that needs to come before the meeting tonight? Hearing none, I'll say the meeting is concluded. Thank you.
Cindy,